In this lesson, we're going to start towards a more robust way to do calculations in C. In this series, I'm using the average as kind of a placeholder for any kind of calculation that you're going to do in technical programming. And the algorithm we came up with for the first average program is okay, but it's not very scalable. If you want to add more points, you have to add more variables. It's tricky. And so this series is going to show you how to come up with a more robust way to calculate it. And it's a few steps, so we're going to do one step at a time. And this first step, we're going to talk about a new type of variable called the array. Like always, I go to the search bar, I type CMD, I bring up the command prompt, I do cd desktop, then cdc code, and then I'm going to make a new project. I call that, I go make project.bat, average underscore v2. I don't use spaces in this class. We're going to get to the why that is in a few lectures, but I always put an underscore instead of a space. And so I have a new project, average underscore v2, and I open up the in File Manager. I open up the folder, and then I click on average v2.c, and up comes Notepad++ with a blank file, or the file with just the Hello World program in it. One thing to note about Notepad++ is that if you look on the right, the tab from the old program that we did, average, is there. And so I can just, what I need to do is I need to take that old average program as my starting point, not the hello program. And so I click on average.c, then I do a Control A, everything gets highlighted, and a Control C, everything gets copied to the clipboard. Then I go over to the new program, average v2.c, I click on that tab in Notepad++, and then I go Control A, the old hello program gets highlighted, and then Control V, and it replaces it with the average program. Then you can just click that old average.c program closed. You don't need it anymore. You only have the average v2, Control S to save it, and now you have everything we've built up so far in the average program, we have now in our average v2 program. It's a neat way to do that. And Notepad++ CC always has the last program, the last file that you opened always comes up. It's a nice little feature. So in this version, I took away A, B, and C, and I just had one variable, variable A, with square brackets on it, and I put 3. This means A is now not a single variable that can store one value. It's an array that can store 3 values. The analogy is an Excel spreadsheet. It's a column where A is a column, and this column only has 3 elements. You have to tell it how long the column is. And so you have a column that has 3 elements to it. It's a very, very small spreadsheet. But that is a new type of variable that we have, an array variable. And then when we want to load up the values, 3, 5, and 8, to calculate the average, we just say A sub 0 equals 3, A sub 1 equals 5, and A sub 2 equals 8. Notice that we don't say A sub 1, A sub 2, A sub 3. C as a programming language, all the arrays start at 0, not 1. There's a reason for that. It's going to come much later in this series, but just rest assured that C, unlike a lot of other languages, starts at 0, not 1. Some C programming books are so smarmy that their first chapter is chapter 0. That's their little conceit to this whole aspect of C programming. Then the equation for the average is just A sub 0, A brackets 0, plus A bracket 1, plus A square brackets 2, divided by 3. And the top's all in parentheses. The numerator's all in parentheses there. And so this is the same program basically. We just took away the variables B and C, and now we only have the variable A. At first blush, this makes no sense to do. This seems like it's not going to help us in any way whatsoever. Well, Dr. O, why are you making this more complicated? You got to wait for about 2 or 3 more videos, and then all of a sudden it's all going to come together, and you go, aha, now I see. So you got to hold off on, you have to suspend your disbelief just for a moment and follow along with me. Using arrays is really routine in almost every programming language, and so knowing how to manipulate arrays is really, really important. When we compile and run this program with the array, it works just like the old program with A, B, and C, no difference. The one thing to emphasize is that C arrays start at 0. That's the most important little factoid that you can take from if there's one factoid you can take from this short lecture, it's that. C arrays start at 0, not 1. It's a 3-element array, but the last element is A sub 2.